Well, I have 3:31. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I guess everyone's reviewed the agenda. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest? And we'll go adoption of the previous minutes. I'll need a mover. So I guess Jennifer, you'll move that. I'll second it.
I can never remember. If you weren't present, you can still move it, right? Because I wasn't present.
In this case, yes, you can.
Okay, then I will help you with that.
Thank you. Business arising from the minutes. Does anyone have any business from those minutes? Okay, seeing none. We'll move on to public presentations. I don't see any. And then we have the in-depth reports, the administrative reports. Director of Facilities, Karen, I'll turn it over to you for now, please.
Sure. So I hope everybody brought a snack and a coffee. Sorry, this is 3 months worth of reports on here. Perfect. So the first one, we did a really great job at keeping track of gaps throughout the pandemic. And one of the ones that surfaced at the very beginning was how quickly our service providers were shutting down what their service expectations were and regressing back to their core services. And that left our most vulnerable at risk. So that was evident right off the hop. Taking a look at this and even chatting with a few paramedics, I mean, you can read the report for yourselves, but there's some really low-hanging fruit opportunities that could help Ontarians, especially in a rural setting. And one of them was the limitations that they're stuck with the travel grant. That 100-kilometer start threshold is really wreaking havoc on some of our local people that really just need a lift to Elliott or need a lift to a hospital, perhaps need methadone, perhaps need treatment, and instead they're relying on ambulances. So what I did was get the costs that were easily found through ADSAB. Now I know they're not perfect, but the intention of this was to highlight if we could create social systems in rural Northern Ontario where you can rely on a neighbor and pay them back for gas, that can keep multiple people out of hospital and not utilize EMS resources. So that's the intention with this report, is to do a deeper dive, get a better handle on the homework, and then get those actual fees from the province so we can create a really comprehensive note, get all of the municipalities in the area on board, and perhaps approach these senior government officials with a plan.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, it's definitely concerning, and reading the report and understanding the disparities of equity in healthcare in Northern Ontario. I'm just wondering, like, with this, did we investigate maybe if, like, you know how we have handy transit? I know that it might be used in town a lot more, but is there the potential to maybe have like a run to go up to Elliott Lake and back? On certain, I know it depends on the demand of the clientele that need the service. So I'm just wondering, thinking, and then, yeah, if the government's on board to fund this, because we need provincial investment in medical care, because with that 100-kilometer cap for Elliott Lake, it would be like 14 kilometers at 41 cents, which would not be beneficial to anybody. So we need that changed. So I'm just wondering, where could this investigation go, and is handy transit a potential that we could use that service?
Katie, I think maybe I'll let you weigh in here.
Thank you, Chair. To your question, Councillor Pastorero, so currently our CVOR for our handy transit bus is limited to the town core, as is the funding envelope with that we stay within we stay within the hub of Blind River. So that's why we haven't opened it up for trips to Elliott Lake. Plus, it then takes pretty much a full day to take someone up to Elliott Lake. And then our clients here within the municipality are left without the service. So it's something that you would almost require 2 buses for that service. It's good idea. It's just there is quite a bit of more investigation that would have to be done and further expenses to that service to bring it online. Just for the fact that a lot of people actually do use the bus during the day and have become quite reliant on it. So we could solve one problem and create another.
Yeah. And I know recently we lost a volunteer, with Lou. And there's been a few people who give their times to drive people to these appointments. And I don't know if it's something that we could promote, or Karen, as you put in here, go about seeing more individuals to get into the volunteering, with taking hold and bringing these people to these appointments. Like, this is going to be an ongoing situation. And if we don't have the government backing here, somehow it's just going to be a greater demand in the future, with the aging population. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thanks, Jim. And it's 100% an equity issue, and it just infuriates me that there isn't appropriate funding, because access to healthcare should be equitable across Ontario, but it's definitely not. And when there's disparities, then the government should step up and pay for those disparities, those gaps to be closed. And this, like all of our northern communities along the North Shore, are suffering from this right now. And unfortunately, I don't think volunteerism is going to be the answer, because people are more than ever more reluctant to volunteer and have people in their vehicles. So it needs to be something that's lobbied to the provincial government, federal government, to step up and pay for this, because there's such great disparity right now, and people aren't getting the service they need. And yeah, so I like that we're looking for options, but with options and the service levels, we need the funding that's going to match with that. And yeah, so I don't know. Good luck.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle. Go ahead, Katie, please.
Yes, this could be something, as you know, Councillor Pastorero, when we were at AMO with the delegations, we could have had a number of delegations. This could be a topic if Ms. Bittner can put together enough data and enough information that we could possibly have a delegation with one of the ministers that would best be suited for this issue. So it's something that we can certainly put on a list and work towards for Roma in January. And I think a collaborative approach with the municipalities in our area is always better. If we can have a large delegation with a number of municipalities, it has a bigger impact.
Just a little added information, personal. I know of an individual and his wife who's had health problems for a while, and they're literally are going to be selling their house and moving to Sudbury. Just so that they don't always have to travel for these appointments that he's going to have to take over the next term of, over the next year or so. But it's come to a point. Yeah, I think what Katie, you touched upon, it's probably something, maybe we can look. I don't know, does that go to public health? I know they're not probably going to be the source, but yeah, it's something that maybe we could look into further. Go ahead, Jennifer, I saw your hand up.
Thanks. And like you said at the offset, a lot of these organizations that used to have their own in-house volunteer services, like I know when my mother had to do cancer treatment, they'd have the Cancer Society would do the volunteer driver, but like that's all disappeared right now. And so like you say, Katie, I think I saw the thing for Roma and I'm like, delegations, yeah, let's get thinking about what we want to plan for delegations. But this would be one. And like all of the communities across the North Shore that need the service, this would be like a way to solve a gap in healthcare that we could be like a pilot project to present a really good idea to resolve this. So, and I think it's a sad state of affairs when people like are on social media begging for rides to go, like you said, to the methadone clinic. I saw one that like breaks your heart, right? Because if they don't get that treatment, what's that going to lead to? And just cancer patients and lots of patients, like even driving to the zoo once a month for ortho appointments for my son. It's taxing. So if we could be a leader and think of an innovative solution, I think that would be good. Yep.
All right, Karen.
Perfect. So I have permission to continue with this research and put together, we'll call it a sales pitch for the neighboring municipalities to get on board with, so it can be ready for January for Roma.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. Perfect. Moving on, this was an information piece from the summer that we again have another group coming forward with creating events. So it was really cool to see the Beavers and the Cadets bring in an act to the community. We posted on social media, our highway signage. We did blitz posts throughout Instagram and Facebook the week of, the day of. We encouraged the media to go and do an interview with the person that was the magician, if you will, as well as Miss Jensen. So the municipality more than supported. And yeah, we were essentially hands off other than loaning them the property. So it was nice to see, and I hope other groups start coming up with ideas as well.
Jennifer, I see your hand up. Question?
Yeah, thanks. I think the only thing with this event is that although there was like grassroots marketing, there wasn't enough preemptive marketing. A lot of people didn't know about it. Like, for example, that was my son's birthday. And had I known about it, like maybe I could have gone to the circus. But that's one feedback that I did hear, is that there wasn't enough marketing for that event.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, I have one question for you. When you say the word cadets, are we talking both or a single, Air Cadets or Army Cadets?
What I learned from Storm this summer, Councillor Dunbar, is that they've actually amalgamated when they do fundraisers. They're also going through a huge recruitment task right now because their numbers are low. So the two groups merged to make this come together.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
We'll continue on. The next order of business.
Sure. So this one, although it came through as anonymous, Miss Carolyn has been just incredible when it comes to her promotion. But at the very beginning, when she approached the municipality, it was, I don't want anybody to know. I just want to do this. I want to do it for the place that I love. When, yeah, but people need to know where they're giving money and who's taking it. So since the Birch Tree has spearheaded this project, I told her our part would be setting up that reserve fund. So when people do make large donations, since the Birch Tree is not an actual charity, we can issue a tax receipt similar to the B. Jensen gazebo. And once the funds are in the account and there's enough to buy the mat, we will purchase that mat and have a great press release. Carolyn can spearhead that as well. We'll do the install, but it'll be a very community-driven celebration down at the B. Jensen gazebo. So what we're looking for, although council's in lame duck, this doesn't impact the financial statements whatsoever. It's not a new budget item. We are just seeking permission to open up a reserve account that makes it very clear what the purpose of the funds is.
Jennifer, I'll let you go ahead. Go ahead first.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, this is awesome, that social media campaign that's out there. And I know that our student council is going to be doing some fundraisers for it to donate. It's our first few events we're going to put towards this. So then would we give the check to the Birch Tree or to the town for once we finish our fundraiser?
Whatever you're most comfortable with, Councillor Dunbar. If the kids want that impact of going to see Carolyn, to hand it in and go through that experience of what a donation feels like, please feel free. It doesn't affect us either way.
Okay.
My question is more on along the line of, I think that's a fantastic idea, you know, and a lot of people along the North Shore, as you mentioned earlier, you know, Elliott Lake, Thessalon have promoted this accessibility to the, but this isn't in any way, though, I'm going to ask maybe Ms. Scott, this is not going to be taxing our staff, you know, in any way, you know, extra work or anything like that, you know, pertaining to that, Katie? That's quite all right.
Thank you for that question. No, it shouldn't impact at all. There'll be, you know, some donations that are received. We would do them with our normal receipting. It wouldn't be any more work than the B Jensen gazebo. If not, it'll probably be a little less on the accounting department, but it will be fine. We'll absorb it.
That's fantastic. Jennifer, I see your hand up.
Sorry, sneak it in there with another comment. And also this diverts like the funding that we'd have to request taxpayers to pay, right? It's like a little community grant, right? I was just wondering what the price of the mat is. So maybe we could do like a thermometer, like, are we almost there, right? So that kind of thing.
So the goal fundraising total is $7,500 right now. The mats are not cheap, but they are built to last, which is fine. I can reach out to Carolyn. She has been putting posts up though when she hits the 1,000 mark. I believe the last one that went up was, wow, thank you to the community. They're roughly $1,200. So the Birch Tree has been doing that through their stories on social media.
Okay, great. Great. I see we have a resolution pertaining to this. So Jennifer, I'll ask you to move that. And I'll second it. And I'm not going to read through it completely. We have a mover and a seconder, and we'll pass that on to council. Thank you. And we'll move on to our next order of business.
Our next celebration, Chair Dunbar.
Yes, yeah, I stand correct.
So in March, the municipality applied to the Ministry of Seniors and Accessibility, and I was driving home from the Sioux from another meeting when this approval came through, and Katie gave me a shout and I almost drove off the road. I was so thrilled about this. It's only a $30,000 grant, but boy, is it going to impact the municipality. So we are going to be installing 14 more permanent picnic tables that are AODA compliant, that match the beautiful ones at the waterfront. The sites we're going to focus on are listed here. So we'll add a couple at the new logging artifact area, that Chiblo and Hudson corner. Once the courthouse demolition is done, we're going to landscape and add lots of seating. Already reached out to North Shore Health Network, so the staff are aware and can engage the residents in our apartment buildings across the street to go outside and socialize and get some fresh air. Sellers Beach desperately needs more seating, so we're going to work on that. It's a popular spot. And the travel center property. So those tables have been on their last legs for a little while. They're due. And with the beautiful rehab of the facility, it's almost depressing going around the corner to a rotten picnic table. So we're going to be installing new ones there and keep working through that replacement strategy, as well as the marine park. So the marina is really going to shine next year. So we did that for roughly a 9.4% contribution. And now we do not have to lug tables out in the spring and put them away in the fall anymore. So if we have a green Christmas, people can actually get outside and enjoy these spaces longer. It's a win-win for everyone. It's awesome.
That's fantastic. I see Paul. I see you've joined us here at 3:50. Thank you.
I've been here for a little bit, just nobody let me in, so I just called Pam to tell her I'm sitting here. But
I've
sorry,
had that problem.
I thought it was tomorrow actually, so sorry about that.
Okay, moving on to, I guess, 7.5 then, Karen?
Sure. Another win for Blind River, our ice resurfacer. So we applied for this one, I think it was at least 8 months. The process for the province was quite slow, especially because the provincial election. So that halted any activity for approvals. But we are very proud to share from the staffing level that setting up a reserve account, tucking a little bit of change away each year and leveraging that resulted in a new piece of equipment. So now we can keep filling those coffers that when we're ready for the next one in 10 years, we're sitting in a beautiful position that we don't need to shock our ratepayers. It worked. So
Yeah.
congratulations to everybody, because this is also council sticking to that 5,000 a year into the account, and it paid off.
Thanks to the administration and the staff and the directors, you just keep on adding to our wonderful list of successes for council here and yourselves. Thank you. A question on that, is that committed to come here in February, March of 2023? The ice resurfacer?
Yep,
Okay,
Councillor
that's
Dunbar,
great.
it's in production right now. So they're anticipating late February, early March, and I'm hoping we have it for playoffs so we can do
Just
a real
about, yeah.
hoopla
If you
for the
did that.
Beavers, because they're doing fantastically this job or this season too.
Yeah. Any questions on that? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to 7.6.
Sure. So this one was really fun, and what I'm hoping to do with council once the new gang is sworn in is have a really neat presentation of how much we accomplished over the last 4 years. It was a lot, and we should be celebrating it. And when you drive through town, you almost forget how much that we have done because it's so layered. We've started with a piece and then another piece is approved. And then we find a little bit of tax money to get another chunk done. And then another thing is approved. So it's really important to take a look and go, okay, with this scatter graph, we truly have made sure that we focus on the entire community. We did not stick to one area of town. And I also appreciate that certain people only travel in certain areas. I'm very used to my way to work. We all follow our certain commutes and we only may see certain things. So if you have a member of the public that says, why is everything only happening here? You can actually say, well, actually, there's all of these improvements that are happening throughout the municipality. Now, there's a couple of rogue stars over on the right because we have some billboards up near Sudbury that are promoting the marina and the boom camp. And that was from the last in-person budget meeting that we had at Town Hall before the pandemic, where we had a new resident join the gallery and actually open up and say, Blind River's wonderful, but we actually don't promote it. There's nothing on 17. So we followed through with that commitment that we told that resident that evening.
Yeah, I'd like to see this year out, you know, once that's finished there, Karen, you know, so it can, you know, the public can see this map here. Paula, please go ahead. Question.
Did I just notice a new billboard on the west side of town too? Like I came in the other day and I noticed one that I didn't think I'd seen there before. Is that fairly new or am I just?
Deputy Mayor Summers, you're not losing it. You're not losing it. So
go ahead, Karen. Answer that for her.
There's two beautiful new ones. One, Mississauga First Nation gets all the credit for the Anishinaabe territory. There are two beautiful boards as you enter. And then there's the Merchant Success Project with the downtown. So boy, did that receive wonderful social media pickup as well. Maple Acres did a great job at celebrating that success.
Okay, well, I missed that part, but I did see the billboard and it looks really great.
Yeah.
Good eye, Paula. Speaking of signage, now I don't know how long you've had it in place, Karen, but I always go around on my bike when I'm out touring, and I noticed the Fednor signage over there for our waterfront sign. Has that been there from the conception, from the beginning? No, I didn't think so. And it's nice to see those signs, you know, in some of those projects.
Absolutely. Public Works did a wonderful job. As soon as the provincial funding wrapped up at the arena, they were great. They moved that big holder over to the waterfront, got the sign installed, and I have a fantastic picture actually with the Beavers who submitted a note of support for the waterfront, and they all posed under it today as the sun was shining. It's a really, really nice image, and it was sent to Fednor.
I really like going down there in the evening now with the lighting that's all up there. Just one question. Is there a light on that fountain, Katie or Karen?
Yep. So
I haven't seen it on there for a while, but maybe it comes on later. It's on a timer. I don't know. That's my bedtime.
It's actually burnt out and we've ordered new bulbs for it. So they just haven't come in yet. They'll
Yeah.
come in and we'll fix it when we take the fountain out, because we take it out after Thanksgiving weekend, and then it'll be all set for next year.
Yeah, I was sitting there the other night. It was really nice. It was a beautiful night. And this van pulled in and had a conversation with someone who saw the fountain, and then the lighting, and they got out and they picnicked it, you know, along the river. And I thought they might have been maybe pulling over to spend the night. Anyway, I left them. Okay, anything more on that 7.6 then, Karen, or?
Just a couple of Cliff's notes for the group for the
Yeah.
river. The 3 remaining docks are ordered. Our 3rd dock is being picked up on Thursday, and then the installation is supposed to be next week. And we were so efficient with this project that we are able to install a kayak dock as well. So you're going to see a kayak dock installed on the Joe Sidock gazebo side. And depending on how long we fly through the next report, what I can do is actually open up under new business the YouTube video for that kayak dock if you'd like to see it. They are pretty cool. They're coming from Ontario, and the person's going to drive them up to us next week.
Yeah, get us a picture of one of those, Karen. I like to see one of those. I know a lot more people getting interest. My wife just bought 2 kayaks, so we'll see.
I love it. So let's zip through the next one. I'm open to any questions. I know you've been looking at this for a year. Happy to answer anything though.
No, it's fine. Paula, Jennifer, we're good? Any questions? Yeah, okay. You're just doing such a fantastic job, Karen.
Let me give you a couple of, again, highlights though from this report, just so there's
Absolutely.
no, wait a sec, I missed that.
Yeah.
The playgrounds, we are working on an installation strategy. Beamish has confirmed they have cement supply. So Chris and I and Katie will be getting together to kind of break out the playgrounds into a strategy so we can get a couple done before winter and then just wrap up the rest in the spring. But all of the park components, they've been built. They're sitting here at the rink and they're ready to go in the ground. Forest Glen is, you've probably seen the hydro layout. We're just waiting on it to be connected. So we don't have parents running their vehicles to light up the hill for sliding in the winter. They'll have beautiful bright LED lights on a timer that falls in with our parks bylaw. So they'll all shut off at 10 and the kids
Okay.
can get outside. And then we can encourage the ones that like to toboggan at the community center and give me heart palpitations because I'm worried about the stuff coming off the roof over to a new location where they're nice and safe. So that's a win for the community.
A question for you back to, just before you get too far ahead, back to the river frontage. The docks, they will be coming out for the winter. And do you have you know, at a certain date or something like, we'll be storing those docks somewhere? They won't stay out there all winter, will they?
Well, the thing is with NIDOC, and we're just waiting on the written confirmation. They're actually designed to stay in the river. The ramps are
Okay.
designed to unclip, and the docks and the pontoon warranty states that they're to remain in float. But because we've spent so much money, we're waiting for the supplier to put that very clearly in writing to support the
Yes.
warranty. So we don't get into a they said supplier manufacturer.
I'm not being operational. I just
Mhm.
hate to see a nice brand new dock like that, you know, succumb to ice or something. So anyway, thank you for, so there's more to come then.
Yeah.
Contractually, I guess, maybe towards it down. Okay. Yes, Paula, question.
Just a question on that then. So then they would be lit. So if there's snow machiners, like they will be seen. I'm just thinking about a snow machine running into a dock in the winter time or something, you know. So will they have some sort, because that has happened many years ago. I think that there was a dock in the back of the high school and some snow machiners ran into it and there was some pretty bad injuries. So
Yeah, I'm going to let Karen and Katie answer that for you, Paula. But I mean,
okay.
I have a personal point here is that if you're out there on a snow machine on that part of the river, you're asking for trouble.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm
But good
just
point.
thinking,
Good point.
you know.
Chair Dunbar, that is what I was going to note, that usually that area doesn't freeze. There's so much current there. The other consideration that I'd like to discuss with the supplier is that in the spring, we do get a high level and fast running water there. So we want to just maybe take that into consideration, Karen, let them know that that happens. But for snow machines, we don't see snow machines back here. We'll see them come across the parking lot and jump and go under the bridge on the rare occasion. But most snow machiners don't come this side of the bridge due to the current. It's usually a black ice in there.
But if I may, to Councillor Summers' point, like something out at the end of the dock, or like a reflective tape, or a little flag, just, I don't know, cover our proverbial rear ends, you know, per se. I see what you're trying to ask there, Paula, but like I said, I don't think you should be out there on a snow machine. But we'll let administration figure that one out, all right?
Okay,
Good
Jen has her
question,
hand
though.
up.
Yes, go ahead, Jennifer.
Thanks, guys. Speaking of covering our proverbial butt, I'm just wondering, with those beautiful docks, what is our liability potential for it not having guardrails or rails and people falling off the dock? So how are we in that circumstances?
Sure. So I can share through our marina project, their railings are not required on boardwalks, and docks are under the same regulation. Similarly to Mataninda, the marinas all over, the way they're designed, we don't have to have them.
Yeah.
So their standard practice for their application, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. We didn't create anything out of the ordinary for what a landing would have or a boardwalk. And for the pathways, we made sure also they're far enough away from the water to try and reduce liability further. So I hope that helps. I know it's kind of a great way to answer the question. It's we didn't try and create something out on a peak where people could fall. It's the floating dock.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering,
Jennifer, go ahead. Yeah.
sorry, thank you. I'm just wondering, do we need to have like a use at your owners kind of thing on there? Just I'm like envisioning like little toddlers like doop, 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 right off the end, right? And I know it's the parent's responsibility to watch them, but just to reduce liability, do we need to have any signage or anything like that for them?
What I can share from other projects too is the signage doesn't reduce the liability, but we can post something that is attractive. Please use at your own risk. Please take care, but it won't help us in court, so to speak, if something happens.
Yeah.
And I think we learned that lesson too with the road in the winter time. We can post use it your own
with that,
risk to try, but
with that being said, Karen, yeah, I wouldn't like to see, you know, pasted signage everywhere, and you kind of taken away from the, especially if you have from good sources that we're legal the way we are right now, you know, like I don't see adding more to that, you know, if it's not going to do anything for us in a court of law per se, except maybe, as Jennifer might have said, maybe just a little notice, like as you were saying, Karen, you know, keep an eye on your kids, or I don't know how you would do that. Like,
while you're appreciating your mindfulness journey through our beautiful path, please be mindful of your littles.
yeah. Speaking of which, I see the signage going up, and I'm just wondering, is this a town policy that they should be in French and English? Are some of our signage? I've had that come up again, just on a personal question note. I'm just wondering, at one time, I remember the signs in town were in English and French, like rue, you know, the streets. I'm just wondering, Katie, where are we with policy for the French and English? And as far as that goes, maybe the Ojibwe. I know we try and do that on major places like the new walk out there on Young Fox, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, so there was, it wasn't a policy that council had passed way back. I want to say it was in the 90s. They passed a resolution. They didn't formalize it in the way of a policy. That's something that can be brought forward again if council wishes to make us bilingual, I guess, community. Keeping in mind that we try to do a trilingual wherever possible in our new signage. But that's why a lot of our highway wayfinding signage is done with the pictures rather than the words. And we try to do that as often as we can as well. All of our facility signs are bilingual. The majority of the new signs that have gone up are either pictures or bilingual. You raise a good point with the street signs. I can't, you just see them all the time and you don't really pay attention. I will double check those to make sure they're putting the rue and the street or whatever the acronym is. I'll make sure that is being done, but we can certainly look at formalizing the policy if council would like that brought forward. I can bring it forward to the Corporate Services Committee.
Yeah, just see, what their taste is for this. Because as I said, I've had a few conversations with a few francophones in town, and they were just inquiring. That's all.
And I do know that there were some questions with regard to our website. So our website has the Google Translate, not the full translate.
Yeah.
If we want to do the full translate, it's quite a bit more. And I know that the Google Translate is not the best. I am aware of that. We do all of our notices though in both languages.
Yeah, we're good with that. Karen, any more high points you'd like to point out to that? 7.6.
The marina, I have to brag, sorry, I'm gonna sound egotistical on this one, but I'm really proud. We paid the final bill for the project yesterday, and $1.3 million project, we were over $2,700. So given the inflation that we had to deal with in the last year and a half, $2,000, like that was a win. So Port Lou is going to be on site just after Thanksgiving to give us a complimentary blowout and winterization. So they'll be here, 2 workers with Daryl and Josh. We are going to be fully winterized second week of October, which is record for us. Usually Daryl's doing that alone. And they're going to be back in May to see how everything held up and make sure we're ready to rock. So there's even less stress for us to kick off next season. So celebrate that. It's so huge. Over in 1.15 million in direct investment from senior government for that project.
Go ahead, Paula. I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just have a question because I had another comment about people parking inside the gazebo. That makes me very upset when I hear things like that. Can we not put something in front of it or something? I know you had the tables in there. That must have stopped people for a while, but I know the other night, apparently somebody was parked in there again. What is wrong with people? I just don't get it. What do they think? It's their own private parking garage? I don't understand it. But
I've seen it myself, Paula. And if there was anything, I mean, God only knows. I hope we don't need to put up another sign, but I'd rather see maybe an accessibility. And then again, these guys on their motorcycles will probably use the wheelchair ramp. But to Paula's question, Karen, will we have accessibility to that building or facility? And can we keep the cars and the motorcycles out of there?
Yes, so I've had a couple residents come forward to decrease the grade, which is doable. We can track down more accessibility money to assist with that. And I don't see why we can't come up with a solution, even similar to the beautiful ski club hut where we have boulders or something in front. We can do something really attractive to drive that point home. And then it's also
flower pots even.
Yeah, and then
flower pots,
maybe, yeah, there's definitely a solution that we can figure out that's low cost. And then we can move those pieces of equipment when we do get funding to have a really, really nice ramp.
Yeah.
But, oh, stupid.
I know, but to Paula's point, somebody will see that and they're thinking, oh, well, I guess I can do that. And then the next thing you know, yeah. Well, I forgot
don't get
about that. Good point, Paula. Yeah, that's just plain stupidity, what I think it is. Okay, 7.7.
That was 7.7, wasn't it?
Sorry, scrolling through. There's a picture too, if you're interested on, oh, one sec here, page 26 of the report, but it's page 44 in your agenda. You can see what the new Olympia is going to look like. Sticking with our Thunder and Beavers colors. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we're pretty excited. And sorry, I'm just scrolling through here to get to the next. The Santa Claus parade. Okay, so this is cool. It was a positive experience last year, and we have a volunteer stepping up to host the event again. A little bit of background information on this. We understand that the municipality does not decorate prior to Remembrance Day. So we have arranged with H&C to work on Saturday to install the wreaths downtown to Christmasify the municipality. So it's ready to go. Same thing, Blind River Figure Skating Club and Summer Jameson leading the charge. Again, although in Lame Duck, we don't need additional budget. We're basically seeking a carbon copy of last year for the resolution. Now, understanding that we have a few construction projects on the go, we're not seeking the road closure permission at this point. So Summer would like to begin planning so she can recruit those floats and people can get involved, and we can follow up with a parade route that suits our needs based on Woodward and Haynes and Hawkins.
Okay. Sounds good. That's awesome. Nice to see she's willing to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jennifer?
Sorry, thanks, Jim. I was just wondering, because I know last year, like it was obviously very well done, but there was some people complaining about that Midnight Madness or something with the businesses downtown. Is that gonna coordinate this year, or is it gonna be done differently?
So they're two separate events that in a perfect world would happen together, but we stay away from the politics of downtown. However, there's some new faces downtown. There's some new businesses downtown, and there's some new owners. So once Summer has the permission to proceed and start with planning, I assume her next step is going to be going out to those like-minded operators and get some more activity happening so the fronts are open. But that part we stay away from. We let the volunteers and the store owners take care of it. We focus on the parade logistics.
Yeah.
Katie?
And just to further note on Karen's comments to that situation, this year the Santa Claus parade is being looked at organized on the Saturday rather than the Friday night of Moonlight Madness. So that will help separate the two at the request of the downtown merchants. But perhaps they can stay open on the Saturday as well and have a really good weekend.
Question on the downtown merchants. Is there still a viable chambers that is organized going on right now, or is it kind of like an ad hoc downtown merchants now? I mean, question. Go ahead, Katie, please.
Yes, Chair Dunbar. So my understanding is that there is no functioning Chamber of Commerce at this time. Currently, most of these initiatives are being driven from the downtown merchants, so they're stepping up and taking over that. Perhaps they'll do something in the future, but at this time, there's no chamber.
Okay. Jennifer?
Yeah, just to further that, yeah, the chamber, once Garnet stepped down, there wasn't leadership to coordinate it, and so yeah, it kind of is defunct right now. And yeah, so that big huge billboard and everything, that's all grassroots. That's just the merchants banding together and really stepping out and doing their own thing, which is cool to see.
Yeah. So we have a resolution here, and I see it's moved by Paula and seconded by Jennifer. Whereas the Blind River Vision states, driven by extraordinary volunteers and supported by its community leaders, Blind River is vibrant, a prosperous town that has established itself as a year-round destination, an ideal community in which to live and do business. Therefore, be it resolved that council authorize the Blind River Figure Skating Club to host the 2022 Santa Claus Parade on November 12th, 2022, and that the Blind River Fire Services be approved to participate in the event, and that barricades be supplied at no charge to the organizers. All in favor? And that is carried. Correspondence, our 8th order of business, I see none. I don't think there's any addendums to this here agenda. And so now I'm going to open it up to new business for any individual who has something. Councillor Summers, I see your hand up.
Just a couple of questions. First of all, is the travel center open? I might have missed that earlier. Sorry if I did. Is it open? I've been meaning to stop in there, but I didn't know. It doesn't look like it's open, so I'm not sure.
So the restrooms have been open throughout the summer. We have remedied the exhaust issues with the furnace yesterday. So now it's safe for staff to work in there. And the electrical inspection that was scheduled for Truth and Reconciliation Day, I'll follow up with Ken, but my understanding is that it's the following week, but I'll double check that. The storage units, pardon me, the shelves are all in there ready to be built. And we are looking at a late October opening. We also have confirmation from Snowplan that they'd like to participate in a grand opening with us to highlight. Yeah, so that is pretty cool too for the OFSC to want to be on board. So open yet? No. Home stretch though, yes.
And so is there something with the MTO regarding the use of like the rest area in that? Did that go through?
In progress. And if not handled in, how can I put this? If it's not handled in a timely fashion, that will be a delegation that will be prepared for you. So when you get to meet Minister Mulroney's staff, we can highlight that we have been waiting on her ministry to help us out because we're providing a service that is seriously lacking in Northern Ontario. Yeah,
for sure. Okay, good. And the other thing is, Karen, I just wanted to ask you, because I've been having lots of comments, the canteen at the arena. Is there normal hours? Apparently there was some big Nolan 3 hockey thing this weekend and the canteen was not open until later on in the day or something. Is there some sort of a schedule, or how is that working exactly? I'm just curious.
So we have 5 staff for the canteen, and during the Nolan's period, we were open from 12 to 7 because 2 of them had prearranged visits out of town for health reasons. So now the staff is underway and they're open first thing in the morning for the minor hockey activity all the way through, and Beavers games.
Perfect. And is 5 staff enough?
I think so, because they all want more hours and they want to open up more days of the week. It just doesn't, it's not financially feasible for us for the traffic. But yeah, and with public skating starting on the 7th, it'll be open more.
Okay, that was just, of course, that was a comment on Facebook. Of course, people were all up in, because it wasn't open. But then I did notice someone did post that it was open later. But I just want to make sure, and they're trained and stuff, because I also heard a comment about they didn't know how to use the machine to use the debit card or something, and
so they're training.
So,
yes,
pardon?
So they're training. This is a first job for 4 of them, and 1 has had previous employment. So been quite open with the people. There's even a sign up at the canteen, which was annoying to have to post, but please be nice to us. This is our first job.
So that was just a comment that the person was given the water because they couldn't figure out how to let that person pay for it. So I just wanted you to be aware of that, just to make sure that, that's being, that's not a way to make money. So that's good.
Sounds like it's being addressed, Councillor Summers.
Yeah, and I haven't really been there much, so I haven't actually seen them in action really too much. So, but I plan on being there quite a bit more. So very good. Thank you.
Great. I have some new business I'd like to discuss. I had a conversation with a bus driver. And the bus driver, and Karen, I'm going to call upon you because you have this vast knowledge and connections along the North Shore, especially pertaining to marinas and the boating group. There's a company called Lakeshore Excursions. Are you familiar with them?
Is this the one that runs between Manitoulin and Spanish?
This is the one that picks up the people off the ship and brings them into Gulf I mean, I've heard stuff, some fantastic stuff that we have here, that some of these individuals who do this cruise on the lake, we can offer them the artwork at the museum. We can offer them, and this is not overnight by any means. This is a day trip, usually and off. And I asked the individual, well, how would we get these people? He said, well, the ship would anchor out in front of our marina. And then obviously the transportation would happen from the ship to our marina. And then individuals would be bused if they're going to golf or anyway, it was just an idea. And I was just wondering, is there do you see any chance down the road that maybe we can get in on a piece of that pie? I know the owner of the is a fellow by the name of O'Hare, who does the excursions. And I just wonder if there was an opportunity for Blind River, especially with our wonderful, nice marina and our golf course and our boom camp trails. If there, obviously this would be a discussion for you and administration and obviously council if they wanted to go forward with something like this. But it would be a win-win for let's say they basically would have, there's 200 people on these cruise ships. So they basically would have, if they were doing a morning and an afternoon, the golf course, for the day. And that would all have to be worked out. But it's all promoting money and it's promoting our town. And I didn't know whether to bring it up here or wait to have a good discussion that Jennifer's, Chair Jennifer from the BRDC, maybe it's more along that line than a community services, opportunity. But I just thought I'd bring that up and they had me excited a little bit over this, something like that. I said I would bring this forward to administration and Karen, you, the director, pertaining to this. They may have nothing to do with us. So I don't know. I just was wondering, maybe if we could look into an opportunity that if they're willing to anchor their ship out front and pour them into our golf course, why not?
Sure. So the short answer on that is, of course. When council is sworn in, another part of our action plan is to actually revisit the vision boards and seek council's permission to stay the course, because the vision board checklist is quite comprehensive and we're right at the cusp of achieving a lot of those metrics to move them into the next column, as well as seek other input from council if they'd like things added to the list. So a piece with that, with tourism and economic development, are we ready to blow the seams off Blind River? I am ready to see our streets crawling with people. I would love nothing more than to have funnels of 200 bodies exploring our municipality, storming Main Street, golfing, going to the bar, taking pictures at our waterfront, and then leaving going, holy moly, like that little town really has their act together. And we do have all of the big city things as far as attractions. We've got stores, we've got banks, we've got healthcare, we've got all of these great things tucked into this beautiful little rural network. So yes, definitely. We can actually borrow a lot of the tools from Sault Tourism. So between the city of Sault Ste. Marie, who now owns Sault Ste. Marie Tourism, they align all of the big ships So what'll happen is the immediate city staff take care of the docking and things like that. And then the tourism gang comes up with the excursions. So at that level, if council's on board with us, let's get people in by the hundreds. Absolutely. Then we start coming up with a plan where we liaise with the golf course, knowing the library hours, all of the attractions that are going to be open, and create this beautiful little itinerary for them. So they swipe their credit card and away they go.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's
absolutely.
big. Baby steps. I understand, baby steps.
But doable. Absolutely
Yes.
doable.
Yeah. So would this be something that we would discuss after our lame duck is over, you know, in the Blind River Development Corporation per se? Okay.
Absolutely.
Katie, go ahead, please.
Yeah, just to further on that, yeah, so this will be an in-depth conversation with council to take a look at our strat plan, where we were, where we've come together as a team, and then what's the next step? Where does council foresee us? So what's your direction for staff of moving forward? I foresee it as more an operational part in doing such things as this. We have the bones now. Let's build the operation. Let's build the brand. Let's bring people in by the hundreds and start really beefing up and promoting our community now that we're not fighting with them leaking roofs and all of those things. So it'll be part of the budget discussions as well as part of the onboarding. So you're going to see it a lot over the next few months.
Right. I see Jennifer, hands up, please go ahead.
Thanks, Jim. And also, I don't know if this is placed and if we have to wait till lame duck, but I'm just wondering, with the development near the travel center, the developments, is that moving forward? Because that would be super amazing to enhance that, right? To have the ability to make it an overnight excursion, right? If people want to be here, and like, so is that something that's still moving ahead or in the investigation feasibility stages still?
I don't see that here on the agenda. I understand how you would like to know. I'll leave that up to Katie if you want to answer that, Katie.
Like, where would I ask about that? If that's a better question.
So through you, Chair Dunbar, this was a closed matter of council. So I would ask that question at the next meeting.
Enclosed. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that was said. Okay, everyone. Fantastic year. More to come. Wait a minute. I know. I see Karen there waggling her bed at me. Keep up the great work. Go ahead, Karen. Oh, I lost you. There we go. What do you got there?
We call it thrillology. The study.
Oh, there we go. Now it looks like me.
Woohoo!
That's fantastic. Right on.
That is awesome.
That's great. I was just
Well-
watching that video on YouTube the other day, thinking that would be cool.
Mhm.
So you're getting
That's for
I
next.
actually love
That'll
that.
be next year, Karen. That'll
Yeah.
be on it next year.
we're going to install one when they arrive because I'd like to learn from the person who sells them how to install correctly. And
Okay.
then we'll install the second one next year. So we don't have to dismantle two so quickly. And then maybe people can get out for a nice fall paddle and check out the river with those beautiful colors.
Right on.
Yeah. Because if you have some decent weather, I'm sure those local paddlers would be out there in a flash for sure.
Mhm.
Great meeting. Thank you very much. I'm going to call a meeting to adjourn here at 4:31. And have a great night, guys.
Okay.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Yes,
Well done.
absolutely.
Well done for sure.
Yeah.
See you at the rink.
Bye-bye.